Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Bhattarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Bhante Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Beta Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Gukaro Anthakaro Vai Rukarastan Anthakara Nirodhitvad Gururitya Vidhiyate. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanav Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhi Tamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Bhagavate Vaivasvataya Mrityave Brahma Vidya Acharyaya Nachiketase Namaha. Second chapter, first section, second shloka. The dialogue between Lord Death and this young boy, Nachiketas. Very famous dialogues among the traditional people and a very simple Upanishad and conveying the subject matter in the simplest way. So, most of the traditional people used to take this Upanishad as the first Upanishad in their traditional teaching, and they will start to teach the people keeping this Upanishad as a guidance, as a model, how to study an Upanishad in a simplest way. So Kaṭha Upaniṣad have its relevance in our tradition. So I will read this slogan again, verse again, and I will convey the meaning, whatever we have gone and what we have to see, we will connect to that. Parachaha kaman anuyanti balaha te mrityuryanti vitatasya pasham atha dhiraha amritatvam vititva dhruvam adhruveshu iha na prarthayante. Once more I will read. Parachaha kaman anuyanti balaha te mrityuryanti vitatasya pasham atha dhiraha amritatvam vititva dhruvam adhruveshu iha na prarthayante. Human being has a drawback. In their practical life, they try to follow what others are doing. And they think that that is the right thing to do in this world. when an action is to be done, everybody have their own way to do the action. But most of the people used to follow what others have done. Very few people think, how should I do this action properly? Thus, they find their own way. But most of them follow the method what others are doing. So, the senses are being extroverted. They are designed to see the external things. Most of the human beings used to pursue these pursuits which give happiness from the external objects. Nothing wrong on that. But when we came to the ultimate reality, when we want to know the ultimate reality, what is the real happiness, then the happiness which are born out of by the contact of our senses and the objects are just a drop compared to the eternal happiness. A drop, matra in Sanskrit. When we say matra, it's a measure less than a drop, like a dew drop. So, the happiness which are born out of by the contact of our senses and the external objects being followed by the most of the human beings. And in Upanishad, from the ultimate standpoint, here it is told, Balaha means one who are not ready to think themselves, one who are not matured to look into the reality, one whose discrimination is not at all activated. Those people are called here Balaha. Balaha, if you literally translate, it's called children. Even though human being, even they are matured, from the ultimate standpoint, one who are following the external objects, the external pursuit for security and for the happiness, we go behind different external objects. Those people are being told by Lord Death, Balaha, whose maturity is not at all given to the way to the discrimination. They are aged. They are not at all, even though children, still their discrimination is not at all there. So they are called Balaha by the Lord Death. One who follow external pursuits. Because not knowing the goal, not knowing the means to reach the goal, because these things are missing in their life, they just follow to the external objects because of the people, most of the people are doing, I will also go behind external objects. And where they will end up, that is also being told. Te mrityoho yanti vitatasya pasham. Actually, pasham means rope or net. A net which is far extended, vitatam. Everywhere it is there. Vitatam. A net which is extended everywhere. In that, one gets stuck. They enter into this net by following the external pleasures. That is the net constructed by the Lord, that mrityoho pasham. Simply, if I can say for the sake of understanding, it is like this. One will go through the death and the birth cycle. When we enjoy external things, not a problem at all. But there is a vasana after enjoying a thing, whether it is suffering, whether it is a happiness, not a problem at all. But there is an impression which comes towards the mind and stick with that. That impression is called in Sanskrit vasana. This will take a round through death and birth cycle. After giving up this present body, one will go to take another body, which may be animal, which may be a bird, which may be a worm, which may be a tree, whatever it may be, according to one's own karma, one's own impressions, one's own pressures, one's own desires. This is called vitatasya pasham. Mrityoho yanti. They enter into this far extended net or far extended rope. They get tangled in this and they will reach the death. Through the death, they will go to another body, and again they will go through the circle, because their pursuit is just having some pleasures by getting connected with the external things. So, balaha, immature people who is missing the real goal and the real means in their life. They just enter into the net of mrityu, and due to the pressure to enjoy the external things, keeping this pressure inside the mind, they give up the body, and according to the desires, according to the pressures inside the mind, according to the impressions in the mind, they will take another body. Thus, death and the birth cycle will be inevitable for the people who are lacking discrimination regarding what is to be done in the human birth and what I have to reach in my human life. This is being told in the first line of the second verse. But ataha dhiraha. Here, the word ataha, very important. But knowing this, the sufferings and the tragedies and the issues and the drawbacks of enjoying the external pleasures, the discrimination being bold, ataha, therefore, dhiraha, one who has the total discrimination regarding the goal and regarding the means, they just viditva, knowing, after knowing. When we say, whenever we get this word knowing, knowing the intrinsic nature by the help of traditional teachers and the pramanam, the means of knowledge, which is called Vedanta. Anywhere in this world, any book never talks about our intrinsic nature. All other books and authorities promote our inferiority, inferior status. That I being small, I am a human being. This will be promoted in each and every book all around the world. The only text which talks about the truth, you are the infallible Atman. You are the all-pervading consciousness which never die, which never get into a birth. When this is being told, my superimposed notions are being taken care of by the real knowledge. When you get the real knowledge about oneself, that is why viditva, after knowing. Up to this, just before entering into the Vedantic studies, up to that, I took myself, I am a beautiful woman. I am a beautiful man. I am tall. I am short. I am fair. I am black. I have an issue with my legs. I have an issue with my eyes. I have a problem with my hands. I am like this. I am shortened with this type, these organs. I have some other defects in my body. All these things are being accumulated and we are always limited by our notions. But once we enter into the Vedantic pursuit, that's where the maturity lies. Due to the maturity and due to the noble deeds in one's life, a person will meet a right person. And the traditional teachings happen in their life. From there, their discrimination is activated. Because of the discrimination, one comes to know the real intrinsic nature of oneself. Then they differentiate. They separate what are the superimposed notions from the mind and what is the real thing actually I am. Thus, one comes to know in one's life viditva, knowing that I am the all-pervading consciousness, knowing that one will be completely secured, one will be completely happy within oneself in spite of all other external objects. They can stay, they can come to me, they can away from me, they get contact with me, they get detached from me, no problem. My level of happiness will be same. Because external objects are not the source of my happiness. My being all-pervading consciousness and the swarupam, the intrinsic nature of the consciousness is three characteristics. Satyam, it is truth. Jnanam, it is always sentient, it is always conscious. And Anantam or Anandam, unlimited, and it is also the source of all happiness. So I need not to go behind any object in order to become happy. Once you enter into the pursuit of Vedanta, you need not to pursue any other thing. Your boyfriend or your girlfriend is not the source of happiness. Your car or your house or your wife or your children are not the source of happiness. Your fracture of the leg will not annoy you because it's not the subject for suffering, because in spite of all your limitations, I am the unlimited Purnam Brahma, all-pervading consciousness. Body will be always having different types of issues in the entire way. From the date of birth onwards to the date of death, you will be always challenging different types of obstacles in your life. But it will not affect you. You will be always Shantam. Why? You came to know your intrinsic nature. Once we come to know our intrinsic nature, that is the end of all kinds of insecurity. That is the end of going behind the external objects. It can come, it can go, that will not affect me. That is been told. Viditva, having known, Dhruvam Adhruveshu Iha na Prarthayande. They will not go behind. Prarthayande. Actually, Prarthayande means seek, to seek. Going behind the external objects which are limited, which are perishable. Adhruvam. Adhruvam means perishable. Those things which are perishable, which are impermanent, in the midst of all kinds of these temporary things in this dramatic world, this person will be pursuing the real thing in this world. Because all the things will make you more attractive. Anything in the world will make you to get attracted with that. A beautiful pot, a beautiful pen, a beautiful shirt, anything through the ads in the TV, television, we come to know different types of things in this world. Everything seems to be attractive as long as you are not aware of your intrinsic nature. Once you know that this intrinsic nature is the only ultimate reality, all other things are not having the capacity to attract you. They can just be in front of you. We will not get attracted towards them. Why? The most attractive thing in the world is this all-pervading consciousness. Because it's my projection that this is beautiful. Whether it is a boyfriend, whether it is a girlfriend, whether it is a car, whether it is a shirt. It's my projection. Due to my notion, due to my misconception about the world and people. But once you come to know the reality behind what is behind everything, there is no more attraction towards anything in the world. So, Dhruvam Adhruveshu, in the midst of all this impermanent thing, the discriminative one will only fetch, only hold the reality, which is the goal of a human being. He will be only seeking the truth of each and every perishable things. There is something behind each and every perishable thing. That truth is being understood by the help of traditional teacher and the pramana, Shruti pramana, scriptures. There is no direct reading of any scriptures because scriptures seems to be confused for a person who directly enter into read the scripture like a story. From a traditional teacher, I should come to know what is my real nature. Once you come to know the real nature, it's very easy to give up anything in the world. It's a easy way to give up anything in the world because once you get the biggest thing in the world, you will give up all small things in your life. That is being told here. Dhruvam Adhruveshu. In the midst of all the impermanent, perishable things, he, the matured person, Dhiraha, the discriminative ones, will hold to the ultimate reality. That is being told, Dhruvam Adhruveshu iha na prarthayande. Do not seek anything other than this reality. This is the beautiful meaning given to Nachiketas by the Lord Death, because Nachiketas asked a relevant question from different angle. He presented the truth in front of Nachiketas so that Nachiketas will be capable of understanding the overall vision of the truth. This is the meaning of the second verse. Now we will come to the third verse, which is another beautiful verse given by the Lord Death towards Nachiketas as a striking verse. Again, I will read the verse and I will give the meaning. Yena rupam rasam gandham shabdan sparshaha. Once more. Yena rupam rasam gandham shabdan sparshamscha maithunan etenaiva vijanadi kimatra parishishyate etat vaitat. Once more. Yena rupam rasam gandham shabdan sparshanscha maithunan etenaiva vijanadi kimatra parishishyate etat vaitat. Now, few things to be basically we need to know to understand this verse. We all know that our body is inert. If you don't know, now you come to know. Our body doesn't have the capacity to work, to enjoy the world. It is depending on lot of things. Body is inert. It is lending the satta. It is lending the sentience from another thing. If at all the body is sentient by itself, after death also the body should be aware of the things happening around it. We know that after the death, body will stay like a wood because it is inert. Jadham in Sanskrit. It is not sentient. Like a bulb, like a refrigerator, like a TV. They themselves cannot work by the help of electricity. They do their job. They are lending the energy from the electricity and they do their job. A refrigerator will make all our things cool or frozen. It does its job. Refrigerator itself doesn't have the capacity to produce cool. A TV doesn't have the capacity to show itself all around the world. A light, a bulb doesn't have the capacity to put the light outside, but taking the support when the electricity passes through them, they do their respected jobs. This example, even though seems to be very simple, in the same manner, we need to think about the body. Here, it starts with Rupam. Rupam can be two meanings. One is color, one is form. I identify myself, the color and the form, through my eyes by the support of somebody. Eyes itself doesn't have the capacity to reveal the things what is right in front of you. There is a truth behind that. Somebody who gives energy. Eyes become sentient due to somebody's presence. So the word yena by this should be supplied for everything. Yena rupam, yena rasam, yena gantham, yena shabdan, sparshanscha. By this means the all-pervading consciousness which is called Atma, which is called Brahman. So this consciousness is almighty. In the Dakshinamurti Stotram written by Adi Shankara, there is a prayer. There are two verses starting with Nana Chitra Gadodarastitamaha Diva Prabha Bhaswaram. Like this, it goes. The meaning is this. A lamp is kept inside the pot, a pot which having 5 holes. Through the hole, this light will come outside. Each and every hole will reveal the light which is inside the pot and comes through this hole outside. Similarly, the all-pervading consciousness which is inside and outside the body will flow through our different senses. When it comes out through our eyes, it's called vision. When it comes through our nose, that all-pervasive consciousness, it's called smell. When it comes through the tongue, we can speak, we can taste. When it flows out through the ears, we can listen the sound. When it comes through our skin, we can touch somebody. We understood who touched me. Very important. Maithunan. When a man and a woman come together, there is a pleasure. The feelings, Maithunam, Mithuni Bhava, pure pleasure which is born out of getting contact with each other, conjugal pleasures. This is also due to the presence of Atman. So, the inert body, which depends upon the reality, who is self-effulgent, who is self-evident, that capacity is being taken by the body. And through the senses of the body, it flows out. Yena, by this Atma eva, because of the presence of this Atma only, Rupam, Rasam, Gantham, Shabdan. Rupa means form or color. We identify. Eyes can work properly. That's the meaning. Okay. Rasam, the tongue can sense the taste and it can speak also. That is not been told here. Lord Yama says, because of the presence of the Atma alone, one identifies, one comes to know all the things. Rupam, Rasam, Gantham, smell, different types of smell. Aroma, when a dish is been cooked, you get the aroma. When a person passes in front of you, what fragrance, what type of perfume he has put in his body, you will get the scent. Different, what the unique way of identifying all the things separately, extraordinary capacity for our eyes, ears, nose, etc. All these capacities are born due to the presence of the Atma. Without the presence of Atma, of course, Maithuna, the pleasure born out of intercourse, sex, maithunam. Of course, that also is due to the presence of Atma. Already the happiness being there as the nature or the characteristics of the Atma, that pleasures will flow through different things. So, in one sentence, we can complete that. All the material pleasures are due to the presence of Atma inside our body. Simple way of understanding. Because the presence of Atma inside the body, which is all-pervading Atma, it can pervade inside our body and outside our body. When it is inside the body, that Atma, the energy, that Atma flows out through different senses, and it works in very different way. Eyes can see the color, eyes can see the form due to the presence of Atma. Similarly, all other senses also. Of course, skin, sparsha, touching. It's very important, you know. When our hand get connected with somebody or somebody touches you, you feel that something is touching me because of the presence of the Atman. In the Bhashya, it's very, there are a few sentences I would like to read the Bhashya. Here it is told like this, you know. Yena, by which Vijnana Swabhavena Atmana, the very consciousness having the nature of awareness, Vijnanam, all-knowing, capacity of all-knowing, Vishesha Jnanam, Yena Vijnana Swabhavena Atmana. I already mentioned you what is called Atman in the last class. The explanation which is told in the Bhashya by Shankara. Because of the all-pervading consciousness which is inside our body, having the capacity to know everything. Rupam, Rasam, Gandham, Shabdan, Sparshan, Maithunan. Maithuna Nimittan, Sukaprapya, Sukapratyayan Janati. Maithuna Nimitta Sukapratyayan. Getting connected with a male and female, a male getting connected with a female or female getting connected with a male. There is a pratyaya, there is a thought and there is something. That happiness is also due to the presence of Atma. Vispashtam Janati. Clearly it is known by each and every people. And they say, I don't see Lord. I cannot see God. The body is inert because there is somebody inside the body. Due to the presence of that thing, only the body can understand each and every sensations. Very important. And also, It's told here also. Sarvam evatu atmana vijneyam. Everything is being known by the Atma. Nothing exists unknown by the Atman, because this is all pervading consciousness. Yasya atmanaha avijneyam na kinchit parishishyade. Saha atma sarvajnaha. Yasya atmanaha. That which Atman, being there everywhere, nothing is not known for this Paramatman. Nothing exists in the world without the knowledge of Paramatman. Very important. If a sad news comes to us, it's already pre-planned by the Atman. If a good news comes to us, it's already pre-planned by the Paramatman. Nothing will happen in this world without the knowledge of Paramatman. Nothing exists in this world without the knowledge of Paramatman. Everything is under this Paramatman. And in Taittiriya Upanishad, it says that Vishasma Vatah Pavate Vishodi Suryaha Vishasmadagnischendrascha Mrityurdhavati Panchama iti. Out of the fear. This is not the fear when we see a dog and we get some fear inside. No. There is a respect towards the superior thing which is existing above all the things. That superiority made them complete respect towards that. Because of this superior Brahman existing above everything, the wind flows here and there. Vataha pavate. It become a storm, it become a breeze, all due to the order of this Parabrahman. Because of the fear of the superior thing which is existing on the top, the sun rises, the sun get involved in its own duty. Taittiriya Upanishad says that in Anandavalli. Because of the superior thing which is above everything, due to that, Indraha, the owner of the heaven, Agni, the fire, involved in their own respective duties. Mrityuhu, the Lord death, running, because completely engaged every day. People give up their body in the right time, Every day, every second, somebody is dying. An ant is dying, a deer is dying, a lion is dying, a man is dying. Every time, completely he is engaged. Due to whom? The superior person who is standing over the top. And he ordered everybody to involve in the respective duties for the welfare of the creation. Taittiriya Upanishad says that out of him, out of the fear on him, everybody works in this creation in a respective order. Very beautiful. The same thing is been echoed in this verse also. Here it says, Sarvam evatu atmana vijneyam. Everything is well known by this all-pervading Atman. When we are also committed for this all-pervading Atman, we will also come to know what is going to happen, what has already happened, right now, what is the situation, everything. When the mind is very clear, you are also Sarvajnaha, because already the Atman being Sarvajnaha. But we are all engaged in small things. my house, my family, my children, my wife, my boyfriend, my girlfriend, my book, my dish. We don't think about the bigger things in the world. Always we think small things. And we just miss the biggest thing in the world. Once we start the biggest thing in the world, the ultimate thing in the world, all other small things will be dropped by our mind. And we are the Sarvajnaha. What is going to happen? It will come inside our mind. What already happened, it will also come inside our mind. We will be in another level of consciousness. Anyway, one more sentence, very echoing sentence. Saha Atma Sarvajnaha. This all-knowing Atma have the capacity to run the whole show of the creation, not only our body. He is Sarvajnaha. Sarvam Vijanadi iti Sarvajnaha. In order to make a pot maker should have the knowledge of making the pot. In order to make a cloth maker should have the knowledge of the cloth. In order to make everything in this creation, that person should have the knowledge of each and everything. This is called Sarvajnaha, Almighty Sarvajnaha. This Sarvajna run the whole show in the creation, and also he run this body, simple body. Yena, our every organ works due to the presence of Atman. Yena Rupam, Rasam, Gandham, Shabdan, Sparsham, Maitunan. Etenaiva Vijanadi Kimatra Parishishyate. Everything is well known by this Atman only. All things we think, we run, we walk, everything is due to the presence of Atman. Kimatra Parishishyade. What exists apart from this? What is there? What remains without the knowledge of Atma in the world? Indeed, this Atman is Sarvajnaha Sarvavyapi. Etat Vaitat. This is indeed that Atman which you asked me, O Nachiketas. We have to put these two words because Nachiketas asked a question to Lord Death. What was his question? Nachiketasa Prishta. Nachiketas asked in the beginning of the Kaṭha Upaniṣad discussion by the Lord Death. What? Devadibihi api. Even by the celestial beings, Vichikitsidam, there is a doubt, there is a confusion. Dharmadipyo anyat. Is there anything existing other than these righteous deeds and rituals and heaven? Paramam Padam. Is there anything other than this? Is there any ultimate goal in this world? Yasmat Param Nasti. So Lord Yama says clearly, this is the thing you asked to me. This is the thing you have to know in this world after taking the human birth. After knowing nothing is to be done, just you have to take away the wrong notion about oneself. You are not this body, you are all-knowing, almighty Paramatman, Brahman. So, Yasmat Param Nasti. Other than this, apart from this, no other thing exists. Only Atman exists here. Only the Parabrahman exists here, which is all-knowing and all-mighty. Sarvajnaha, Sarvashaktiman. He have the capacity to control the entire creation. He have the capacity to create everything, to sustain everything, to resolve everything. That is why he is called Sarvajnaha, Sarvavyapi, Sarvashaktiman. according to one's own karma. One will, even the karma is working according to the order of this Parabrahman. We will discuss about that when the right situation comes. So, etat adigamam ityartaha. This should be understood properly. Whatever you have asked, that thing is here, which is luckily might be you. Yo Nachiketas, by what? By what? By whose presence? Our eyes are working, our nose is working, our ears are working, our tongue is working. By whose presence I can smell, by whose presence I can touch, by whose presence I can understand the whole sexual pleasures. That Atman is sentient, and that sentience is been passed to the body, and the body seems to be sentient due to the presence of Atman. May you come to know that this is the ultimate goal of each and every living being. Of course, human beings have only the capacity to go under a traditional guru and study. This ultimate goal, may you come to know, etat vaitat, you have to know, this is the thing you have asked to me, O Nachiketas. This is the meaning of the third shloka. I will read the fourth shloka and we will discuss the fourth shloka in the next class. Swapnantam jagaritantam cha upau yena anupashyati mahantam vibhum atmanam matva dhiro na shochati. Again, Lord Yama, from another perspective standpoint, he reveals the truth. As an individual, it's very easy to understand. That's why he takes the dream and he takes the waking state of a person and reveals the truth. We will see in the next. Om Swasti Prajabhya Paripalayandam Nyayena Margena Mahim Mahishaha Gobrahmanebhya Shupamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshadu Parjanyaha Prithvi Sasya Shalini Deshoyam Kshoparahitaha Brahmana Santu Nirpayaha Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinaha Sarve Santu Niramaya Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschit Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om